Welcome to the PJ Hoop Podcast. I'm your host, PJ, and no NBA this week. This is my college basketball March Madness special episode. So in this episode, I'll be giving you guys 10 to 15 prospects that I'll be watching for closely in the tournament. We'll kick the show off with that. And then I'll release to you guys my bracket and why I have what team winning what and whatnot. Okay, so we'll get into that next week. We'll line back up with our NBA and get ready as we gear towards the playoffs. But this is a college episode, so keep that in mind. I've made previous college episodes in the past with you guys. Episode, I believe it was 15 or 16, was my very first college preseason episode where I gave you guys my Final Four picks. So yeah. Let's just dive straight into it. I don't want to waste any more of you guys' time. So we're just going to dive straight into the prospects. So keep in mind to you guys, these 10 to 15 kids I'm going to give you guys, these are not the best kids coming out of college going into the NBA. These are truly just, some of these kids are going to be lottery picks, but also I'm picking this batch of kids because I want to see if these people can rise to the occasion, if some of these people can improve their draft stock or if their draft stock's going to slip. Because, March really tells us a lot about players, in my opinion at least, So they say two things happens when you apply pressure to a diamond. One, that diamond either crumbles, or two, it becomes a stronger diamond. And obviously March Madness, one and done, the pressure is on every single play of every single game. So I just want to see how some of these kids perform, okay? So I'm going to give you guys my 10 to 15 kids. I'll give you guys a brief reason and why I'm going to keep my eyes out on them. And yeah, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what people are you guys going to be watching for during the tournament, okay? So we'll go through our players and then we'll go to my bracket, okay? So let's start with the players. So one of the kids that's on my list is LeBaron Filan. He is a 6'4" freshman from Alabama. To me, he's one of these players. Let me correct myself. He's one of these players that I think is just one of these players that are going to have a long NBA career. I think he's one of these type of players you just need on your team. I want to see how he performs in March. Obviously, he's with a stacked Alabama team. They have a slew of good players, a lot of good college players. But I think he's the one that once he gets to the NBA, he's going to be an NBA player, I think. So I'm interested just to see how he performs in March and see if he really staples himself as a bona fide potential. I think he's a first rounder, but I wonder if can he solidify himself as a potential lottery pick? I want to see if he can improve his stock. Okay, so that's LeBaron Filan. Another player is Bennett Sturts. He's a 6'4" shooting guard. He's a freshman out of Drake. He's a pure bucket. I'm interested to see how he plays. I think in the first round. Dang, I forgot who they play in the first round. But he has a pretty good matchup in the first round. I think they play Missouri, maybe. Don't quote me on that. Obviously, we'll get there when we get to the bracket. But he's on my list too. He's somebody who I learned about 2 weeks ago. So I'm interested to see how he performs in the tournament because he's a very solid player from the little bit of film I watched. So I want to see if he can, does he catapult himself? So he's somebody I'll be on my target as well as he's playing against better competition throughout this tournament. Another player is PJ Haggerty. He's a 6'3" he's a 6'3" sophomore. He goes to Memphis. He's just a scoring dynamo. I think potentially, we'll see if it happens, but he potentially, I think, could transfer into being like a 6-man or 7th man off an NBA bench if he decides to come out. He's a downhill scorer. He puts a lot of pressure on the rim and on defenses. So he's on my list. Igor Demon is another player. He's 6'9" freshman from BYU. I think he's a tremendous passer. He's very shrieky. He's a very shrieky scorer. But I'm interested to see how he does in this tournament, see if he can improve his draft stock. Another player is Thomas Ha. He's 6'9" sophomore from Florida. I want to see if he can improve his draft stock. Will Riley's a 6'8" freshman out of Illinois. Neat Clifford, 6'5". He's a fifth-year senior, Colorado State, can do a little bit of everything on the offensive end. I want to see how he performs in the tournament. Darian Williams is a 6'6" junior at Texas Tech. I think he could potentially translate to a 3-and-D at the NBA level. I want to see how he does in this tournament. JT Toppin is a 6'9" sophomore, Texas Tech as well. Tahad Pettiford, he's a 6'1" freshman at Auburn. Common Malowatz is a 7'2 freshman at Duke. I'm a Duke fan. Isaiah Evans is a 6'6 freshman from Duke. I'm interested to see how he does during this tournament too. See if he can improve his draft stock. Con Knipple, 6'7 freshman, Duke. Interested to see how he does. And the third reason, I think Con is a lottery pick. I do think that. But I'm interested to see how he does in this tournament because early on, obviously they're freshmen, but early on in the year against Kentucky, against Kansas, he was even against Auburn, he didn't perform that well. So I just want to see him play. I want to see if he's actually improved because the ACC was down this year. So I just want to see how he does in this tournament as well. So those are the players that's on my list. I think I named all of them to you guys. Yeah, I did. I named all of them to you guys. That's 13 players. So those are the players I'm gonna keep my eyes out for during the tournament, just to see how they perform in this tournament. Because again, we're gonna see people's draft stocks go up during this tournament. Some people's draft stock is gonna slip, and for me, these were the 13 players that personally I'm keeping my eyes on predominantly. And who knows, there may be some surprises throughout this tournament that may pop up. But yeah, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what players are you going to be watching for during this tournament and what players do you think could surprise some people during the tournament. You guys let me know down in the comment section below. So we're going to dive straight into it. And obviously, like I said, keep in mind, my bracket obviously is my bracket. I'll keep it right up in the corner for you guys so you guys can, if you guys don't want to hear everything I have to say, you can just look at my bracket and bounce if you want to. Okay, it's up to your choice. But I'm gonna go through my bracket. I'm gonna try to go through this as fast as possible. But yeah, we'll just straight into it. We're gonna start up in the corner. We're gonna start up in the South region. The number 1 seed in that region is the Auburn Tigers. And then the number 2 seed is Michigan State. This region's I think it's a fun region in my opinion. I do got Auburn winning their very first game. That Louisville and Creighton game, I kind of was on the fences with that. I took Louisville. I like their backcourt. I like their backcourt defense. They got the ACC Defensive Player of the Year in Chucky. He's their starting guard. Really great. He's a really, really good defender. Creighton, I think Creighton has a really good offense as well. I went with Louisville, but I wouldn't be surprised if Creighton won that game. And then also I got Michigan over UC San Diego. UC San Diego has the perimeter size and the speed, but Michigan literally has the interior size with Danny Wolf and I forgot the other guy's name, but they're both 7 foot and they're both upperclassmen. So that's going to be a very fun matchup to see who wins that battle. UC San Diego doesn't have the necessary size to deal with the post game of Michigan. So if Michigan plays small, watch out. I think they could be on upset alert. I'm going to take Michigan, but I would not be surprised if UC San Diego shocks them and beat them. They also, if I remember correctly, the guy that leads the NCAA in steals at 3 a game, I think his name is like Hayden Gray. He plays for UC San Diego, if I remember correctly. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think he plays for them as well. But I'm taking Michigan, but don't be surprised if UC San Diego upsets them and beats them. We got A&M and Yale. I'm going A&M. I like Phillips. I forgot his first name. I think it's like Zurich. I think his first name is like Zurich or something like that. Zurich Phillips. I like him. I like their other backcourt. His backcourt mate. I forgot his name. I think his name's like Wade or something. I like A&M though in that game against Yale. Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is going to get upsetted. I think North Carolina beats San Diego State, and I think North Carolina beats Ole Miss. I think North Carolina kind of has a little confidence right now. I think they can upset Ole Miss in the first round of the tournament. I got Iowa State winning that game. I got New Mexico beating Marquette. I got Michigan State winning that game. My second round of 32, Auburn, Louisville. I got Auburn rolling Louisville. I got A&M over Michigan in the second round. Again, I like A&M's guard play, and they actually do have the bodies to throw on the 7-footers for Michigan. But I took A&M in that game. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan beat them though, because depending how dominant Danny Wolf is, because I mean he's a pretty solid player. They could win that game, but I took A&M in that game. I took Iowa State to beat North Carolina in that second round. I took Michigan State to beat New Mexico. Continue to go up in that. We'll still stay up in the South. This is now the Sweet 16. I got Auburn over A&M. I got Iowa State beating Michigan State. I know some people got Michigan State going to the Final Four. I took Iowa State over Michigan State because I think the combination of Gilbert and then I think the other dude's name is like Lipton or something like that. His backcourt mate. They're really good. They're like great college defenders. And I think the matchup of them versus Jace Richardson, I think it's going to be a fun matchup, and I'm hoping we do get that. That's going to be a very fun matchup to watch. I'm taking Iowa State. I wouldn't be surprised if Izzo and Michigan State wins the game, but I'm taking Iowa State because I think those upperclassmen on the perimeter for Iowa State, I think will be able to slow down Jace Richardson. So I took that. And then Auburn versus Iowa State. I got Auburn beating Iowa State in that next round. So I got Auburn coming out of the South. They're the number 1 seed. We'll go to the East region. By the way, my favorite team is Duke. Literally, I was born into it. My nickname's Duke, so I'm a Duke fan. So yeah. Anyways, I got Duke winning their first round game. I got Mississippi State beating Baylor. I wouldn't be surprised if Baylor does beat them because Baylor does have really strong guard play with Robert Wright. I don't like Jeremy Roach. I don't like Jeremy Roach, but he's a really good college guard. And then obviously they got a potential top 5 pick in VJ Edgecombs. I think they go as far as VJ takes them, but I'm taking Mississippi State in that game. Oregon Liberty, I got Oregon. Dana Altman is 7-0 in first round games. I got Oregon. I like their team. Arizona, Akron. Arizona's on upset alert, I believe, against Akron. I'm going to take Arizona, but I won't be surprised if Akron beats them. That second round, I got Oregon beating Arizona. Like I said, I really like the Oregon team. Jackson Shelstead, Nate Biddle, TJ. I forgot the TJ dude's last name, but I like the Oregon team. They got Kwame Evans coming off the bench. I like the Oregon team. Duke, Mississippi State. This is, I think, the first test for Duke. I think this could be a grimy game because Mississippi State does have the bodies to throw at Cooper Flagg. So this could be one of these games where the others of Duke really step up. I think Duke wins that game. I think that's the first real test for Duke. But yeah, I got Duke winning that game. I got Oregon over Arizona, like I just said. I just don't trust. Arizona's such an up and down team, and that's why I said they can be upsetted in the first round, in my opinion. So the bottom half of the bracket, BYU, VCU. I got VCU upsetting BYU in the first round. Saunders for BYU. He's a sniper, and they've obviously got they got Dimon. They got Dimon on their team. But I like VCU. I like VCU in that matchup. I think VCU has the bodies to match up with BYU pretty well. So I'm taking VCU in the upset. Wisconsin, Montana. I'm taking Wisconsin. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt. I'm taking St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a team that I think could shock some people and go farther than what we may be estimating. But I got St. Mary's beating Vanderbilt in that first round. And I got Bama winning that first round. And then the second round, I got Bama over St. Mary's. Alabama is on upset alert in the second round against St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's could beat them, but I'm going to take Alabama. VCU, Wisconsin. I'm going to roll with VCU again. I think VCU beats Wisconsin. And then that next round, the Sweet 16, I got Duke over Oregon. And then I got Alabama over VCU. And then I got Duke beating Alabama. I went back and forth with this one with Duke and Alabama. I think they both match up with each other. Alabama has the physicality and the team makeup to beat Duke. I think Marcus Sears, could potentially struggle with Tyrese Proctor and Sion James dealing with him and guarding him. I think Cooper Flagg can dominate Grant Nelson and get him in foul trouble. I think the deciding matchup potentially could be LeBaron Filan versus Con Knipple. I think that potentially could be the matchup to watch. And truth to be told to you guys, that's the matchup I'm going to be watching if this is a matchup that ends up coming about, because I think that could be a deciding matchup during this game. So I got Duke coming out of the East region in a nail biter against Alabama. Let's go down to the Midwest. I got Houston is the number 1 seed down in the Midwest. Number 2 seed is Tennessee. I got Houston winning their first round matchup. I got Gonzaga over Georgia. I don't like Gonzaga as a program. I've always felt that they played in a super weak conference. I don't really care for Mark Few. But I got to give them due. Due is due. I think Gonzaga has the personnel with Ben, Greg, and then Graham to throw on Newell. I think Newell I think they have the personnel to throw on him, but then also they have the senior guards with Ryan Nimhard and I forgot the other dude's name. But yeah, I like Gonzaga in that first round against Georgia. That's gonna be a fun first round matchup though. That's gonna be a really good game. And then right below that, I got Clemson winning their first round game. I think Clemson's a team that could go far. Clemson, no BS, I think could probably get to the Elite Eight. No joke. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really like their team as a whole, but I got them winning their first round game. I got Purdue winning their first round game. Second round, I got Clemson over Purdue. And then I got Houston over Gonzaga. And I got Houston versus Clemson. Like I told you guys, Houston, I think, could lose to Clemson. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I'm going to take Houston just for the sake of it because I really like the Houston team. And I just feel like Houston has to get over the hump. Truth be told with you guys, they got to get over the hump. They've been knocking on the door for so long. Next year, they're going to have a really, really good team, too. They got 2 really, really highly rated, or maybe 3. They might have 3. I know they have Chris Sinek and then Isaiah Harwell. I know they're coming in. I think they have a third dude that's coming to Houston too, potentially. But Houston will be really good next year. But they've been knocking on the door for a while. I got them over Clemson. And then right at the bottom of that bracket, we got Illinois versus either Texas or Xavier. I think Xavier beats Texas in the play-in game. I think Xavier could upset Illinois in the first round, but Illinois also, in turn, Illinois could go farther in the tournament if they're clicking on all cylinders offensively because they run hot and cold. But so yeah, it's weird. Illinois is one of those teams that I can see losing in the first round, but then I also can see Illinois going as far as potentially all the way to the Elite Eight. So it just depends what Illinois team we're going to get. But I took Illinois in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to Xavier. I do think Xavier is going to beat Texas. But I'm looking forward to watching Trey Johnson play Xavier. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching Trey Johnson play. But yeah, so I got Illinois winning that first round game. I got Kentucky over Troy. Kentucky's in trouble. They have no Lamont Butler. I don't know if he's going to be back or not. They lost Jackson Robinson for the season. I got Illinois beating them in the second round of the tournament. But I do got Kentucky squeaking by and getting through the first round. And at the bottom, I got Tennessee winning their first game. I got UCLA winning their first game. And I got Tennessee beating UCLA. And then that leads me to Illinois versus Tennessee. I think Tennessee, truth be told, Tennessee can go all the way and win this thing. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think maybe not win it. I think they can get to the championship game, though. But I got them beating Illinois. Whereas in turn, like I said, Illinois could beat them as well. But I'm taking Tennessee. And then that lines up a matchup for in the Elite Eight for it to be Houston versus Tennessee. I'm taking Houston in that game. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee made it to the Final Four. But I'm going to take Houston. I think Houston, like I said, they've been knocking on the door for so long, man. Like, eventually got to get through this. Eventually got to get through. And I really like this team this year. They got shooting, got defense, they got upperclassmen, they got the great coach. They got it all. Houston should really be at the apex of winning the Natty. But I got them coming out of their region. Obviously, that's another number 1 seed. And then we'll go to the West, the last region. I got Florida winning their first game. I got Oklahoma winning their first game against UConn. I just think this is a bad matchup for UConn. It's going to be a fun matchup to watch, though. Jeremiah Fears versus Liam McNeely. If you guys are not familiar with either guy, I think Fears is going to be a top 10 potential. I think Fears is a top. I think he should be a top 10 pick. Let me correct myself. I think no doubt he's a lottery pick. I think he's a top 10 pick in my opinion. And then McNeely is, I think, at the very end of the lottery to the late first round, to mid first round in the 20s. So we'll see how that game goes for both of those players. That's going to be a really fun matchup. But I got Oklahoma in that game. Colorado State. I got Colorado State upsetting Memphis. 2 of the players that I talked about earlier who we're going to be keeping my eyes out on plays for each team. So that's going to be a fun game. I got Colorado State winning that, though. And then I got Maryland over Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon had last year Grand Canyon won, they kind of shocked the world when they won their first round game. They had a player on their team. Last name I think is Grant Foster. I think is his last name. I don't have it in front of me. But I think he's coming back. He's still on the team. They're playing Maryland. I think Maryland also is another one of these teams that can go extremely far. And what I mean by that, I think Maryland can get to the Elite Eight. And potentially, I think they can get to the Elite Eight. I have them getting at least to the Sweet 16, but I think they can get to the Elite Eight. I think they could beat Florida. I think so. Obviously, I'm picking Florida to win the national title, but I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland beats them. Maryland has Derek Queen. They got Rice. They got really good guard play. They got the big man down low. I like the Maryland team. They got the offense to keep up with Florida. And like I said, Queen against Thomas Ha and against, I forgot their other big man's name. I think it's Alex. It's like Alex something. Alex with a C, like Connell or something like that. I don't have it in the front. Like, I literally don't have any of this in the front of me. This is just off the dome. But that matchup will be a fun matchup to watch. But I think Maryland can go far. So I wouldn't be surprised. You guys should not be surprised either. And so, I got Colorado State versus Maryland in the second round. I got Maryland beating Colorado State. That's, again, fun game to watch. We got some prospects. Oklahoma versus Florida is going to be a fun game too. Watching Fears versus those Florida guards. They played them earlier this year, and I think Fears had a good game against Florida, if I remember correctly. I can't remember, but I think he had a good game against Florida, or a bad one. I can't remember. I think it was a good one though. And that leads me to my Elite Eight. I got bottom half of the bracket. I got Missouri over Drake. I wouldn't be surprised if Drake beats Missouri. Drake got really good guard play. They got that Bennett kid, and then another kid on their team. I think they have a good big man, I think, actually. They got the Bennett kid, and I think they got a good big man. Missouri, I think, is just a very physical team. They got Mark Mitchell at the helms of it. Mark Mitchell came from Duke. I like Missouri in that matchup. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Drake upsets them at all. I would not be surprised. Texas Tech, I got Texas Tech winning their first game. I got Kansas over Arkansas that first game. I think Boogie Flan is actually going to play in that game. Don't quote me on that. St. John's, I got St. John's winning their first game. Then I got St. John's over Kansas in the second round. Texas Tech over Missouri in the second round. I got Texas Tech beating St. John's in the Elite Eight. in the Sweet 16. I got them beating them. I like the Texas Tech team. I do, with JT Toppin and what's the other dude's name? Darian Williams. I just like that combo. I like the Texas Tech team. I like the makeup of their team. I like them over St. John's in that game. I think they'll be able to make enough shots, and they'll be able to match the physicality of St. John's, I believe. So I like that matchup. And then we got Florida, Texas Tech. I got Florida over Texas Tech, but I would not be surprised if Florida lost to Texas Tech either. I think Texas Tech is another team that can get to the Final Four. This is honestly, I'm going to be real with you guys. This might be my favorite region, to be honest with you guys. I literally just thought about it. This might be my favorite region to watch. But yeah, so then we'll go to my Final Four. I got Duke, Houston. Both number one seeds. I got Duke over Houston in the Final Four. I got Florida over. I think Florida will beat Auburn again. They just beat Auburn not that long ago. But I got Florida winning that. I got Florida cutting down the nets. I got them beating Duke in the national title game. And yeah, that's my bracket. Obviously you see, obviously we know it's really hard to get all four number one seeds to the national title, to the Final Four, obviously. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not here really trying to pick a perfect bracket for you guys, to be real. I'm more focused on the prospects in this. Obviously, I'm a Duke fan, so obviously I want Duke to win. Yeah, I really like all four seeds. All number one seed, like they're really, really, really great teams. I think a lot of these number twos are really good teams. My favorite number two, if I had to pick a number two seed that I think could get to the national championship game and win it, I would probably pick either Tennessee or Alabama if I had to pick one. Yeah, I like Tennessee or Alabama more than I like Michigan State or St. John's. So if I had to pick a number two seed, I would pick that. A team that, like I said, as we went along, I told you guys teams that could really upset the apple cart. I think Maryland can go really far. I think Clemson's a team that can really go really far in this tournament as well. I think Iowa State can go pretty far. Like I said, I really like their guard play for Iowa State. What's another team that I really like that I think go far? I think Texas Tech can go pretty far. And then obviously, like I said, I think Tennessee, but Tennessee's a number two seed, so I don't know how big of a shock that is. But yeah, those are the teams I really like kind of like outside of the tops, you know. But yeah, you guys let me know, you know, down in the comment section below, who do you guys believe is going to the national title game? Who's, you know, what matchups are you guys going to be watching? Like I said, there's going to be a lot of really good games, really, when it comes to just like, because again, obviously we predominantly talk about the NBA on this podcast. So the tournament time, like, two things happens when you apply pressure to a diamond. One, it either crumbles, or two, it becomes a stronger diamond. So March Madness, it's that diamond moment. You know, what are these people and these players going to do during this time? Because this is when, you know, stars are born, draft stocks go up, some draft stocks come down. This is the moment. This is the moment that they all been waiting for. And literally, I love March Madness. This is probably my favorite tournament in all of sports. I would say I love the World Cup too. Don't get me wrong. I love my World Cup soccer, but some about that March Madness, man. Some about that March Madness that, you know, every bucket you can literally see backs getting tight, palms getting sweaty. Every possession matters in this tournament because legends are made out of this tournament. We see it year in to year out, and it's going to happen again this year, obviously. We just don't know what teams they're going to be necessarily. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch my podcast. I'm your host, PJ, and next week we'll be back. We'll be back talking about our NBA. There's been a lot of really good NBA things that have been happening, but PJ's out.